Hello everybody, ladies and gentlemen, the installment you've all been waiting for. It's the Jaraci Cup 9 finals between myself, moi, Bozocow, and MarchWaden. Both of us playing Con here. Now, I actually thought about this one quite a bit. I was considering maybe picking, like Coalition into him, considering perhaps playing Soban as well. I didn't want to go Galzian because I feel like typically when I have, he manages to leverage the advantages of Con over me pretty strongly, but I did a bit of practice against Cookies and quickly determined if my Coalition can lose to Cookies, it's going to lose to MarchWaden, so I did not want to try that one out. And indeed, he beat me. Like, we played 3 games and he won one of them, so that told me I really think I ought to just stick with what I know, and I know Con not as well as Galzian, but I do know them. Game 1 here is going to be on the Boneyard, and the map picks and bans are pretty interesting here. I banned College Teeth immediately, of course. Did not want to fight that at all. And MarchWaden banned Tight End Passage for similar reasons, but he picks Galzian Territories for Game 1. Now, if you remember, there's a bit of history here. When we played in the, golly, this must have been the Jaraci Cup 7 or 8 semifinals. I can't remember exactly which one now. But MarchWaden nearly actually 3-0'd me in that series. He won the first 2 games, and the third game he probably should have won, but then he accidentally choked right at the end and gave me another chance in the series, and then I actually reverse swept him, and we ended up, I won 3-2. But the first game was on Galzian Territories, and I went up with a Rail Rush, which, you know, hey, look what I'm doing right now, yeah? And MarchWaden just went for Ref Mode first here, which back in the day I didn't think was possible for Galzian to pull off. But I could not punish his greed, and he actually managed to win that game pretty convincingly. I think he picks it again thinking similar things. This is a good map for him, one where you can definitely defend the greed strats that MarchWaden likes to go for. Next map going to be Boneyard for me, and then Torn and Crater after that. I'll talk about the reasoning for that in a moment here, but it looks like the first little scuffle going to go come down here, as I do see that carrier with my Sand Skimmers, but he sees me as well. Knows, okay, this is going to be some aggro from Bozocow. I do have a Blast Drone producing off this base printer though, and definitely my idea here was, okay, I want to make something happen with BDs. I want to commit into that in particular. And often when I've got a plan before a game starts, that's how you know I'm going to lose. But I mean, I felt pretty confident about this one. Fleet Cap 45 coming up. Very good spending, as you can see. I have nothing in the bank at all. The question is, how much value can I get out of the Blast Drones? Because this is a pretty big investment. I need them to either, as I take a fight with the Skims, come up in the backline and snipe the eco, or manage to win a fight with the Skims by having these guys behind where he doesn't expect them to be. Still no tech from MarchWaden, but still no ref mod either. He just goes straight to 2 PC. Now the idea here, right, is that he wants to just have the Skim lead, and if he can have more Sand Skimmers than me, he can perhaps just kind of force this out. And I do see that second PC popping, so I know about it. I'm playing a little bit passive here. Probably need to be a little bit more proactive on the field. So I do have an Assault Railgun coming out then to that end. Another Blast Drone, I believe, on the way. But this is where things start to get a little bit tense, obviously. Don't want to dive too far into that carry. I mean, the damage that it puts out is actually fairly significant. Especially because it gets the range for free, so it can hit me with missiles also. Just going to try and poke the Salvagers a bit to try and get him to come over there and deal with me. Oh my gosh, look at the focus fire though. Okay, it looks like I'm not going to be punished for that, but that was a very big mistake in micro for me. That could have been huge if he knew about it. Base Runner pops the smoke here. This Assault Railgun apparently has high ground. Oh yeah, it does. The hills on Galzian Territories are always a little bit difficult to ascertain, but kind of just like the whole map is a big slope from high ground to low ground. Looks like the Sand Skimmers see the BDs now in the back line. Uh-oh. That's a kind of decent hit there. It doesn't get too much though, and one of the Blast Drones was denied entirely, so MarchWaden probably going to be feeling more or less okay about this. This, however, probably a good trade for me as the Skims get up on high ground, but do note that he's managing to isolate the Assault Railgun, which can't shoot at him now, and he gets over the hill now. This Assault Railgun definitely going to be forfeit here. And you know how this works in GVG. I mean, like, if you manage to kill your opponent's PC, you probably win the game, but he doesn't feel like he's got enough numbers to go for it. True, it's only 8-7, I do have that Assault Railgun coming out, so... But it's me who has to back out, and MarchWaden already with ref mode started, and a second PC. I can't go to eco, because if I do, he's going to have this massive lead on me. So, I'm definitely feeling the pressure here, but I know that I've got to make something happen with this Rail Rush that's almost failed at this point, but I have to keep trying, because otherwise, things are just set up too well for him. That rating upgrade that he always gets has definitely come to play in a big way for him. Second PC on the way for me though, about halfway done. Now, based on how this game is going to go, I felt like next game on Boneyard, obviously I probably want to rail rush him, but I may actually use the fact that he knows that I want to rail rush him as well to sort of get some value out in sort of an eco fake. And then on Torrent Crater, a very big map, I want to play more macro against him, kind of demonstrating at the beginning of the series that I can play, you know, a big variety of styles here. But MarchWaden denying the base sprinter there, he's gotten good trades already. I mean, it may well feel to him that, like, all I'm kind of showing by doing this is that he can hold off my early aggro and that I have to kind of cave to, like, his way of playing. However, a little bit of a mistake in a way that he does go down with all those skims to try to stop the base sprinter. It lets me get a salvager for free. And this trade here, too, is definitely going to be in my favor because it's still no upgrade lead, right? Actually, he does have armor 1, I suppose, now that I look at it, but I've got 2 assault railguns in tow here that are going to be able to dump out a huge amount of damage, so kind of critical mistake, I guess, for MarchWaden to just send everyone down to that base sprinter and then send everyone back up here to the sand skimmers. And he's actually going to try and pick up this artifact here, I think maybe just trying to buy time, because he feels like this base sprinter is already dead, but it certainly could have turned around and lived. And maybe even use that smoke screen to make a trail where he could have kept some of his skims alive, too. 2 PCs out for me now. Armor 1 done on the skims. If I build some heavy rails here, I'm actually ready to make a push, and MarchWaden has Railgun Fab coming out of his own. He's got 2 PCs, so he can match the production, but he can't beat it. Not unless he gets a third, which would take a long time, but he can sustain that because he's on 2 base, right? But this is actually looking surprisingly good for me now. Again, like I said, this was definitely kind of a failed rail rush before, but that was a really, really bad trade for MarchWaden. Armor 2 coming out for me then. I want to play this a little bit slow here. I do have 1 heavy railgun out now, so it's going to start hitting that Conf carrier. There's always a game of dodgeball, though, you know. Conf players shouldn't be able to just hit your railguns if you babysit them, if you watch them, because you can see where it's traveling if you watch that missile coming out of the carrier, but man, if it's not hard to do. You know, and if you let that heavy railgun die eventually, it is going to come back to bite you. So far, though, being able to dodge pretty much everything here. And I don't need too many heavy rails. I don't want to overcommit into this. Skims are going to take a trade now, but I actually have the upgrade lead all of a sudden. Just by 1, it's not massive, and he does just now finish armor 2 as well. But in the meantime, that Conf carrier is starting to take a lot of damage, and I have gained the ground. I'm on top of his main base here, so I'm going to start killing salvagers too. MarchWaden not pulling the guys off the line either, so these are just confirmed kills, more or less easy. He's going to try and commit up here onto the assault railguns, but that's generally a mistake in a rail rush if you commit onto the assault rails too hard, because if I can kill the skims in the backline, that's all that those assault railguns really were meant to do anyway. So I'm fine with this. Starting to hit that PC now with my heavy railgun. I didn't really expect to kill this, just, you know, force it off, because I do have the line of sight there, and that railgun is clinking away at it, but he doesn't really respond, so that PC is going to fall. And MarchWaden knows at this point, yeah, I really threw this, I was ahead, but now not really much I can do, so he chooses to surrender. A bit lucky for me, that's for sure. I mean, I had this idea with, like, getting blast run hits up on the backline, but he saw me too early, didn't really take much damage to it. And really, by all accounts, I probably should have lost this game, but a really big overcommit onto the base runner here is going to allow me to take good trades with the skims and kind of get my rail rush into position finally. Pretty lucky for me that I take game 1, but I do manage to take it. Doing a bit of file management here now, sorry. Okay, and into game 2 we go, and like I said, this is Boneyard. You guys know, Boneyard is probably the best rail rush map in the game. Maybe Kartoba can contend with it, but I really feel like Boneyard is just so good for that rush. Only if you get the good spawn, of course. If you get the bad spawn, it's a little bit mediocre, but hey, look at this. Oh, the bad spawn. Oh, I didn't realize, actually. Whoops. Well, anyway, my idea was, MarchWaden has got to assume I'm going to go for a rail rush here, right? I would assume that. If I was playing against me. But in that case, maybe there's something I can do by just going to eco instead here. You can see I do drop the one guy when he's at 10 CUs and bring him back on RUs. This is kind of a weird way that I've done this, but it will work out in the end. Normally, I think the build for ref mode first, if you're going to retire base runner like that, is you put 2 guys on RUs and drop 1 when he's at 10, but there you go, ref mode is started for me. But the question is, how greedy can I get here? Because if MarchWaden is expecting a rail rush, something play, counterplay, dynamic, the rail rush strat, well, if he's expecting a rail rush, he goes for some kind of defense, right? Generally, like, players who go for economy don't have to just lose when they get rail rushed, right? Your opponent is only on 1 base, so you can be okay if you're just on 1 base as well. for a bit anyway, but then you need to get Strikecraft up and get more than them, because they spent money on tech that you didn't have to. And then you try and keep that Strikecraft superiority and, you know, beat them out in the midfield, right? Stop their rails from getting ground on you and sieging your carrier down. So the idea, if he's going to go for defense, is that he'll go ref mode like he usually does, because MarchWaden almost always just goes for this greed build, right? He goes for the macro. Then he'll get a second PC, but he won't build, like, he'll get Sandskimmer tech started before he builds Salvagers, which means that if I do the opposite, maybe I can get a bit of a lead here by surprising him with how much greed I've gotten, right? Basically just being, you know, getting more money than he did. But when I see these skims here, I know, well, that's not necessarily true. This could definitely be a rail rush from MarchWaden, so now I'm a little bit worried here. Again, because I went for that greed, Sandskimmer tech not even done yet, but he does lose one to the carrier here that he probably shouldn't have had to lose. This is kind of the advantage of Conf defending in the early game, though. This is why MarchWaden plays them so much. So the question for me is going to be, okay, is this a rail rush? Is this an assault ship rush? But I'm not exactly playing Coalition. I can't just send a probe to figure it out. So I need to build a lot of skims here and just kind of prepare for the eventuality that he's going for some kind of a railgun rush. But the way he brings his PC over here kind of is the tell it's going to be assault ships. And indeed, here comes the first one. Assault ship done for MarchWaden. No armored unit defenses just yet, but I imagine those will be on the way before too long. Yeah, definitely, but like I said, I didn't have skimmer tech done yet, so unfortunately I was a little bit hemmed in there. Second PC on the way for me, for the eventuality that this is railguns, but now that I see assault ships, maybe I want to cancel this, but it looks like I'm not going to do that. I mean, I know what the tech is, I just fired a missile at it, right? I'm definitely cognizant of this, so this is a conscious choice then to stick on an assault, a PC here. Sandskimmers obviously don't fight terribly well against assault ships, but you can make that work. Power 1 teched for me now, so that I can kind of focus on the defense here. Get one of the missiles, get the, you know, the cruise missiles up as well as the close combat weapons. MarchWaden now, he wants to take a fight with the skims here, and if he can win this, this is a big deal because it'll force me to leave that base. I've got to be, cognizant of. Oh shoot, yeah, I forgot. That actually happens, doesn't it? But I've got to be really cognizant of the fact that this base is not necessarily safe, so I'm going to pull off here. Here's my second PC, though. And Cookies is right. This is a bug in DOK that we call teleporting. This guy zorps out of the field, and he shows up all over here. I didn't mean to do this, I swear. This is actually an illegal strategy if you do it on purpose, because there's a couple maps where you can get an advantage that way, but I don't think anybody is going to complain too much about that. It was clearly an accident, so... Right? You guys can trust me, yeah? The Soldier Tech started up for me as well here. And it's interesting to note, by the way, look, he's actually doing a lot of damage to my carrier with his assault ships there, but obviously, because I can just regen this, if I get kills on those assault ships, I am getting good value here. And MarchWaden's still on one PC, no long distance miners. Again, he's got the obligation to make something happen here, right? Because if he doesn't, I've already got ref mode, I have two PCs. This is kind of a mirror of what we saw last game, right? Remember what happened last game to get me back into it was that he overcommitted his skims there. He went down to fight the base runner, so I came out to attack his eco, and then he responded to it by just trying to take a straight trade, and he wasn't able to do it. That's kind of what he needs me to do, I suppose. That's kind of what he needs me to do if he's going to get back into this, because if he goes back to economy, there's no way that he has the lead here. Again, though, assault ship's doing a lot of damage to this Conf carrier, as you can see. I play Galzian, right, where they have a lot more armor, so I wasn't quite expecting this. I was a little surprised how much damage I was taking, but not like he's going to kill me here, though. I wasn't worried about that. But I do power up the healing here, actually. This carrier block is going to be a little bit awkward here if I'm not careful. Possibly so. Well, he definitely can if I try and hold up 2 base. But see, I had the skims over here to try and watch for that eventuality. As long as he doesn't do that, I feel confident trying to set my second base up. By the way, still no ref mode here, so... Yeah, I'm trying to kill the carrier with assault ships, right? And like I said, I was surprised how much damage I was taking, but there's no way he was going to actually kill this, so... Ref mode, by the way, he's got the money for us. He's going to start. But first, he builds a base runner. Again, this is really, this must be the MarchWaden style, I suppose. And to be fair, what he's thinking is like, okay, well, at least I have field control for now. Let me just make a base runner and try and get an extract up. And that does slow down his ref mode timing pretty significantly, I would say, right? Solchev's here, gonna pick off a Sand Skimmer for free. I've got to be aware, he could still push in on this flank. I probably want to bring this carrier back. Yeah, that seems to be what I'm doing. Armor 2 is done for him. I probably need to get this tech as well now. But I'm on 2 base, so I've at least achieved my goal of stabilizing. You need to be careful about the carrier block here, because if these two guys get blocked by the carrier, it's going to be bad news bears. But the missile does do quite a lot of damage here. It's probably going to facilitate these assault ships to kind of push in. Wow, really good missile there. I mean... Uh-oh, Salvager popped out just straight to his death. You hate to see it. Skims here, they're going to be capitalized on, it looks like. Managed to get 2 of those kills. Missile ship Fab coming out straight for me. Now this is an interesting call because I figured he's going to go for air, so... I was like, rather than going for air myself and fighting it, which I probably can do because I expect I'm ahead here, I'm actually just going to try to preempt it with Missile Ship Fab, which can also be very effective against the assault ships, and then go straight into Con of Siege. Hope that he overcommits by building a lot of hints. Assault ship for me goes down here, it's a little bit unfortunate. He is actually still trading pretty well now that he's got the whole blob set up, but he does have a huge numbers lead, so maybe that's got something to do with it. He will get this extraction out though, so at least he has that. Missile Ship Fab pretty much done for me. Now I'm gonna scout and see, okay, he is on 2 base, but I'm checking the 3 base, he's not up there. And yeah, that is true, because obviously these carrier missiles are searching them out. Armor 2 helping him a lot with that, and indeed, he's gonna get Armor 3 before me here, so... But I am gonna plan on trying to get up to 3 base before him. I know he's not on it yet, and I see he just built another Salvager, so he's filling that base out. When I check over here, I want to see if there's a PC. And look at that freaking timing. Oh, but I didn't see it. No, I did. Okay. I was like, wow, I checked right when the PC came out, but I didn't actually go in deep enough to see it. No, I do see that PC there, so I kind of know the state of the macro from his side. This is the point where he goes for some kind of attack, right? I mean, I figured that's got to be what he does. And seeing my assault chips here and knowing I was on bases faster, I assume he's probably going to go air to try to match mine. So that's kind of the plan here. Siege Cruiser Fab started already, though. As for MarchWaden, nothing yet. He's actually taking Power 1, which is an interesting move because he's not getting pushed on. Yeah, I don't know why he's doing this. That seems like a bit of an odd call. Second artifact picked up by MarchWaden here. Unlikely to extract, though, because my assault ships are here, but he can probably smoke and keep this guy alive. That being said, he's taking a lot of... Oh my gosh. Okay, he does get the smoke off, just barely. He actually smoked with this Space Runner instead. I see what happened. That's a little bit unfortunate. Siege, of course, is the big elephant in the room in this KVK matchup here. You know, whoever gets that Siege Fab first is probably going to be in a good position to... win the game here, and I do have it started pretty significantly earlier. I mean, he hasn't even considered it yet. My idea with going for missile ships is that he would try an air phase, and this would allow me to get siege faster. But like, he hasn't even started it. Okay, there we go. 95 seconds out for him then, but he's still well, he's gotten his 3 base set up, I suppose, to be fair. But this is a very, very late siege timing for him. Yeah, of course it would be Con of Siege. I mean, it's a KVK matchup, you know, what do you expect, right? Missile Ship Barrage gonna hit for some pretty effective damage here. And yet, he actually trades pretty well here. I guess he's got Armor 3 and I don't. Oh my. Yeah, we managed to take like a... I think that was a 3 for 2 in his favor. So pretty good for him so far. That Armor 3 clearly makes a really big difference. In fact, for me, building more assault ships right now is probably a mistake. I probably just want to get this tech as fast as I can. I had built a base runner, though. So, paying some homage to my opponent here. There's Armor 3 started for me, finally. With that Missile Ship Barrage, though, I really thought that would be a fight that I would win. He did have, I think, like a small numbers advantage, too, though. So, pretty well played for him. Con of Siege is out now, though. And with that Con of Siege, this is easily the Kingmaker on the field. I have, like, infinite push potential for a moment here. Nothing on the field can even contest this Con of Siege until he gets his own out. So, well, except for, I guess, the carrier, technically, but not much. I mean, obviously, Con of Siege has got a big kill threat on his carrier as well. So obviously when I build this unit then, what I want to do is push hard, push fast. I don't want to wait at all because I have the Kingmaker on the field, as Magpie would always say. Range upgrade started from MarchWaden, faster than for me. But again, what he pays for this range upgrade by starting his siege cruiser later, and obviously, you know, range is nice, but having the unit I think is a bit more impactful. He does go for a little bit of a flank over here, but I have seen him with those sand skimmers that were out scouting, so not going to be much damage that I take here at all, I don't suspect. I also have Missile Ship Barrage if I need it. This would be a good time to barrage actually with the Con of Siege. I think that he saw that unit, so he knows about it. And I've got the money to go for the range upgrade too, so I probably want to tech this one as well. Queue up the second Con of Siege before I do it. I criticized MarchWaden for his macro choice, but I'm going to criticize my own as well. But over here in this flank, things have gone okay. It looks like I actually lost one sand skimmer, but that's about all that happened. Missile Ship Barrage comes up too. So now these assault ships finally want to commit, but they're all so low. And he goes for the missile ship, actually. I think maybe this is like a mind game to try and say, like, hey, if I kill this, he'll think I do have air, because why else would I commit on it? And then, like, back away, but I don't really know. It seems like an odd choice to me. It's like pushing over that hill at all, it just seems like you're definitely going to die to this Con of Siege cruiser. Down goes the base runner, but Con of Siege for my opponent is out too now. But it's 2-1. EMP shell taking from MarchWaden as well. Still no range upgrade. I'm actually going for power 2 now, so gonna be wishing I had that in a moment, though, I suspect. Blaster Run has been produced for me as well. I probably am building another. No, it doesn't look like it, but this really enhances the threat of the assault ships, and also means that they can... Oh, that's too bad. This really enhances the threat of the assault ships, and also means that they can damage enemy assault ships to kind of like force my way into a window. But look at the crunch here, right? I mean, obviously the front line is right on MarchWaden's face, and this is exactly where Con of Siege wants to be. EMP dodged for me as well. That's pretty good. It looks like I've gotten that tech too now. Starting range upgrade just now, though. Yeah. No, okay, look. I feel so bad about not uploading. I swear I will do it. I just don't know when. Maybe I'll get one done today, but I've said that before. Blaster Run goes in for a hit on the assault ships, but it's actually denied, so it doesn't manage to get its damage out here. Initial fight here on the Con of Siege is actually probably nice for MarchWaden. Yeah, he will actually get a kill there. So the first siege cruiser to die is actually one of mine. Not exactly what you would have expected here, but the trade for it, though, what I'm getting in return is that I've pushed him off of his third base, and in fact I may even kill all the salvages now. No, this looks okay to me. And indeed, this siege cruiser here being EMP means I can also hit it with Missile Ship Barrage. That's actually a pretty big capitalization. And a production cruiser going down here as well. This probably bodes well. You never know with MarchWaden. I mean, he's a really sticky guy. He's one of these people who makes like crazy comebacks, you know, but at this point things are starting to look pretty comfortable. It's not over yet though. I mean, he obviously still could make something done. Get done here, but yeah, he knows what I'm referring to. I wonder, I mean, this kind of siege here has high ground. I don't know if I could finish it off. It's tempting to try for it, but you know, you really don't want to lose Con of Siege if you don't need to. Really, the big advantage of Con of Siege in a lot of ways is that if they get massed up enough, they can snowball really, really hard. So, definitely, I don't want to just, you know, go crazy trying to finish off kills here and lose them, because if I don't ever get them massed up, they're not going to be as powerful as they would have been otherwise. This here's actually a fight that you win for sure, Con of Siege versus Con of Siege, you should note. Because of the way that the missiles work, I mean, if I'm driving backwards and he's driving toward me, I'm always going to actually win that fight in the end. And with the EMP there, that lets me know, okay, here's a target to cruise missile up, although I was a little bit late on the execution there, as you can see. That's definitely something you want to keep track of, though. If you can ever EMP those cruisers, right, just go straight in with the kind of cruise missiles and try and finish off the kills. This kind of siege cruiser here playing a little bit with its life, actually. Maybe I'm not quite aware, but obviously the barrage could come out from 2 of these guys. 3 of them, actually. That may well just kill it. Yeah, looks like that is in fact his plan. Is he gonna hit though? Oh, why are you going back into it, Bozo? I'm doubting my own play here. This seems a little bit bad. I am gonna really barrage that location though, where this is coming from really massively. Double barrage comes out of my own then, but it looks like he's gonna dodge this one a little bit better. But I still may confirm a kill with this. 2 HP? That's crazy. I've never seen it get so low. I thought it was dead because the bar just totally went gray there. That's insane, man. Still though, with how many sources of AoE are out on the field here, it may just get killed off on accident sometime. Main base being besieged now. Looks like MarchWaden has to pull off here, but there's only like 200 CUs left on it, to be fair, so there's not really much to defend there, honestly. Look at the numbers of kind of siege though. It's 4-2. I mean, he's definitely kept up his count a little bit better. Interceptor fab teching for him now. That's an interesting choice. I don't know. I mean, he definitely has like a money disadvantage here. I don't know if you can really get away with building interceptors at all. It seems like it's just a little bit too low tempo. As for me, I'm going through a bit of a skim phase here because I feel like I have too much of a float. But the main base is mining out, so I do need to be aware. If I'm going to build these skims, I can't just lose them for nothing because this is a situation actually where CUs are going to start becoming a little bit more, you know, sparse on the map. Kind of siege here, trying to capitalize on my carrier and maybe get a kill on it actually, but it's a fight that's actually okay for me. I'm going to get the first kill on the kind of siege there. What else can he do tech-wise? Maybe rails, but I'm not sure. It's not easy, right? I think honestly the answer is he doesn't need any tech at all. But you're right, one interceptor for visibility, that can be a big deal. Oh, really nice EMP there, but I'm not sure if he realized that he actually hit it. My carrier a little bit low here. You can see I put a lot of power into the healing. I am really concerned about dying here, clearly. Both groups of Kun F siege barraging each other. That's kind of what you expect to see. But you can see that Kun F carry from MarchWaden getting much lower than mine because obviously he does have a lot less power. For me, it's power 4 on the way. And I've got the artifact lead in a big way too. I mean, obviously the scoreline is 4-1. Uh-oh, this kind of siege here that looks a little bit overcommitted. By a little bit, I mean a lot of it, obviously. Again, look at the numbers, it's 4-3, you know. Given that I'm trading pretty well generally, I shouldn't be like getting behind on Con F siege numbers here. So he's definitely playing the unit, I think, a little bit better than me. Like I said, I'm not a Con F main, I don't really know what I'm doing. But he has to rebuild eco now. This is a tough time for MarchWaden now, so I have actually made my 4th, and I've got a 5th on the way. So I'm going to have the lead in the numbers again pretty soon. And once more, he has the obligation to push on me, because this is going to be the game-winning artifact if I pick it up here. Right? Not good enough that he, you know, not good enough that he just, turtles here. He's actually got to make the play on me. Full power and missiles, you gotta love that. Definitely mobility support would be pretty powerful here, too. Any chance for games today? Probably not, actually, but because I've got family coming over later today. I had to find this window to do this little the Penta barrage there, and everything to hit nothing. You'd love to see it. Have you ever played Con F in vanilla though, man? Because oh my gosh, if you get up to power 5 in vanilla Con F, like, the missiles are just stupidly broken. It's insane. This to me looks like a carrier kill as well. Obviously, I can focus down the kind of siege first. It's probably the right move to make. In fact, this siege because you're getting really low already. But with EMP for me as well, I have the missile battery or the missile system charged up much higher than MarchWaden. So definitely, I should be the one who comes out the favorite in these fights. I do manage to pick off 2, but there's a chance I could have maybe just committed on the carrier only there and just won like that. But hey, why take that risk if you don't need to, right? It's probably not a good idea. I do have that game-winning artifact picked up as well, so if I just don't lose my carrier here, there's pretty much not really any other way that I can lose the game. I would have to take a massively bad trade with the Con F siege. Interceptors are out. Now I said maybe that was a mistake, but there is no anti-air here, to be fair. But the damage output that it can put out is really not that high on anyway. And there is a missile ship there. As you can see, it takes 1 shot. He needs something that can clear these out a lot faster than that. And the carrier missile, actually not going to confirm it. It looks like it's going to be this guy. Baron lives on 61 HP. Going to be counting his lucky stars, but that does finish off the kill on the Con F carrier. Brings the series to 2-0 in my favor. Took me a long time to finish that game out. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I always worry when games go long like that. I should have the natural advantage here because I have like a really big eco lead. This should be fine, right? But it is me. I mean, you know, if somebody is going to you know that if somebody is going to throw his carrier, it'll probably be me. So I always get a little bit worried when games go long like that, but it felt like a good game to me. Headphones still falling out of my ears. Game 3, Torrent Crater. This one here, in my opinion, Torrent Crater is a very good air map. Whoa, sorry, I'm yawning a bit. And you can see why I would think that too. It's very, very long brush distance, right? And the points that you really want to control as well are the extraction zones on opposite corners of the map, and then the bases, again, on opposite corners of the map. So there's a lot of area that you want to be able to control on this map, right? And as a result, to me, it feels like this is a very, very good air map. So my plan was to go for some greed here. Then when we're on 2 base or so, try and... let's see, what was my idea here? When we're on 2 base or so, try and, like... No, it was to go straight to 3, I think, and then to try and start gaining control of, like, artifacts. Using assault ships there, and then have air as my next follow-up. I think that was my idea. Ref mode, as you can see, finishing for me very slightly early, but MarchWaden going for a bit more of a conservative play here with the Sandskimmer fab. And to be fair, I think this is an advantage of being a player who does both aggro strats and macro strats. It's one reason I'm always trying to learn how to do macro builds a little bit better, because if my opponent is going for ref mode, he feels that he needs to get Sandskimmer fab in case I push on him, because it's me, right? I could, but I know that MarchWaden did assault ship rush me on the last map, but it didn't work for him, and I really doubt that he's going to try it again. In my mind, I'm totally safe to go for some kind of insane greed here, actually. So you can see it's going to be like 5 salvagers or so before I even start Sandskimmer fabrication. To be honest, I was a little tempted to actually cancel this tech and start a second PC immediately, but could there have been a guy right here? Yeah, so I mean, I should be a little bit safe. But I did expect that this was going to be pretty much how this goes. Yes, definitely. I mean, if he wanted to rush on that map, definitely it was Rail Rush that he ought to have gone for. Well, that's the thing, like I mentioned at the start. You'd think that GT Alt is a bad greed map, but he actually, I think, has kind of figured out on Galzian territory is a really powerful way of going greed like that. He generally doesn't get punished for it, so I kind of feel like that was not a bad play entirely. But, like, if he's on Boneyard on that spawn, you kind of need to go for Rail Rush if you're going to do some kind of an early aggro build. Assault Ship Rush there, Assault Ship Contain maybe, but Rush for sure is just not really a high win rate type of play. And again, in this game, now we're on Torrent Crater. He's going to invest in a Sandskimmer rating before even thinking about second PC with Assault Ships on the way. My second PC is coming out with Assault Ship tech on the way here. And, well, that is true, A-game. So I guess, you know, what you're saying is that during a rush, if you're LDMing, you're practically on 2 base. That is kind of true. But anyway, I feel like this map here, like, if he's gonna go for, like, an attack, he wants to do that for sure, you know, concentrated. But otherwise, like, he just needs to kind of double down and go greed here and scout a bit with some Sandskimmers, make sure that he's not gonna, like, die to anything that I do here. But the way he's played this so far, it kind of feels like I've gotten free 3 base. And he's not even started it. Obviously, he has Interceptor Fab coming out, which is not, you know, irrelevant. But, you know, this is going to be a bit rough for MarchWaden because I'm on 3 base just immediately for free. Torrent Crater, of course, it was my pick for this reason. I felt like if I could get into this position in the series, I would have kind of a serious lead just in terms of, like, what builds we could even go for. Skim's just trying to check out what's going on. There is Assault Ship tech done here. For me, Interceptor's going to come out as well, but he does have the lead on that by about 40 seconds. But I can build up a lot of Skims too now. Obviously, I've got that tech done also, and I'm on 3 base. So, like I said, this feels very, very comfortable for me. And MarchWaden's starting to build some base sprinters here, so he wants to get field control while he's still got it, try and extract. But if you look at the counts of Skims here, it's about the same. And me having the production cruiser lead, I should definitely, obviously, win in the long term. All I want to make sure is that he doesn't come in and attack me on some kind of weird side angle. But I see him turning around there, I figure he's probably not going to push on it, so... Interceptor Fab, by the way, done for MarchWaden. He does have 2 of them, or 1 of them done, 1 of them in the hangar being built. 2 of them done now. And MarchWaden's style is generally to go for Afterburner really, really fast here and try and get as much value out of those ints as possible. But my Interceptor Fab is finishing just now. I have fleet capacity coming up at about the same time too, for once I got that right, so that feels pretty good for me. And I see these sand skimmers here. I'm just trying to make sure he doesn't get around and like actually manage to push on any of my bases. And again, I'm checking his 3rd base, so I know he doesn't have that. I actually didn't anticipate interceptors though for some reason. I really probably should have been thinking about it for MarchWaden. It's 4-1 right now, right? So I mean, obviously he's got a pretty big lead in that regard. If he's not gotten onto 3 base and I haven't seen any tech yet, it has to be air. I mean, what else could it be? So I was thinking, well, he probably doesn't get both of these extracts out because I can fight him with the assault ships here. But in fact, he does have quite a threat of air that I was not quite anticipating. So the question is, what can he get done with this? Because what he really needs is both of those extracts and some damage on the eco, I think, before he can really consider he's broken even. Having the ground base anti-air is good though, right? Because that means my interceptors can't just do whatever they like here. No Afterburner from MarchWaden just yet, nor from me. First trade is going to go pretty okay for me, 1 for 1. Having the numbers disadvantage, you'd say that's okay, but it looks like they actually do manage to capitalize on the back end and get a kill there, so pretty nice by MarchWaden. The second base runner is close to the extract now. And if they can both get out, this is at least a start for MarchWaden. But like I said, it's probably not good enough unless he can also get some real like eco damage done also. No Afterburner started for either of us. This is kind of uncharacteristic for MarchWaden. He generally goes for that tech. Base runner will get the extract out, by the way. Skims are trying to commit really hard on these assault ships, but this seems like it's gotta be a mistake here, because obviously, you know, assault ship's a pretty good unit against skims. I mean, that's what it's designed to counter. Air's been whittled down to where it's 3 to 5 now. He does get the extract though, so at least he has that, but he's lost the skim blob, and yeah, like A-Game is saying, this is gonna come back to haunt him later. As well as Space Burner here in position to where it could try to pick up that artifact and like deny it from me, but he actually doesn't quite go for it, so. Well, you might not be wrong. I mean, seriously, like in a mirror matchup like this, the skims are so important, right? If you lose them for nothing, like, you're really gonna come to regret it later. Afterburner coming out for me, by the way, and MarchWaden at like almost exactly the same time. That's pretty funny. Because, you know, we both know. We know why that tech is effective when you're fighting air with air. Again, it's MarchWaden with the ground-based anti-air sources here, so I do need to be a little bit careful, but if I can lead him to overcommit in onto my missile ship, I feel like I have like a bit of a trap set up here. But that being said, he still takes a pretty good trade here, and he's gonna get this guy as well. I think his ints are out of ammo though, so they're gonna have to dock here, but it looks like I couldn't quite chase him. So 3 left for him, 2 left for me. And of course, we've both been rebuilding this whole time, so more interceptors than that are dying, but it's really hard to keep track of like who's getting kills in those fights there. MarchWaden now realizing he really needs to set up his 3rd base here. But again, what does that mean? Con of Siege Tech is already on the way for me, right? So I'm gonna have a really big lead in this regard again. Another base runner produced by me, that's gonna be 2, and then I'll probably get a 3rd actually, and then maybe a PC. Perhaps it looks like that production cruiser is gonna get started first. Yeah, to be fair, I really want to get the PC out before Siege Cruiser Fab is done, because obviously what I'm planning to do is unlock the carrier here, so. No missile ship fab from MarchWaden though, and that means obviously these interceptors are what gain him control over some aspect of the field. If I can just bring a missile ship there, he loses that, so. This feels fine to me, as well as Armored Unit Defenses 3 coming out. MarchWaden hasn't even got 1 yet, so. He's got a lot of things to spend his money on, right? And it's difficult to make the right choice when you're behind like this. I mean, he needs missile ships, he needs armor, and he needs Con of Siege. You know, how does he do this, right? Feeling pretty comfortable for me. I mean, obviously it looks fairly even, and the scoreline does go in his favor, but this is probably not a game that he can win with good play from both sides. That being said, it's me. You know, if anyone's gonna throw, it'll be me, so. He's not out of the woods yet, but. There's that PC, so the carrier unlock does come out. It looks like I will actually make a base runner as well. Conceit should follow shortly after, though, because obviously, as I criticized MarchWaden several times in the series with cookies, if you wait too long to get it, then you know you've got this huge power spike, but you're not using it. But this is probably acceptable. And definitely, you know, him not even having a tech on the way, this time I have Con of Siege even faster than I did last time, so this feels pretty good. 2 artifacts picked up here, third one I'm pursuing now. Gonna bring 2 of them out to the extraction zone, almost certainly. There's no way he can really stop me. Power 2 coming out, because again, what do I need here? I really need carrier power as well, or else perhaps I can throw the carrier. But, you know, that being said, fleet capacity might have been nice too. But that's a pretty typical Bozo move. So... Missile ships, or missile ship... No, yeah, there are 2. Getting some really huge value in this fight here. Obviously, he tries to commit the interceptors in there to make this work for him, but he's gonna take just so much damage to the, missile ships while he does that. He can't really use that to gain the field control as I was talking about. And again, it's armor 1, he has tech, to be fair. But against armor 3 and the numbers advantage, there's no way he holds onto this base, so he's gotta back away. And look, these blast drones showed up here, looking to see if I could get, like, a hit on the base, and I'm like, well, it's already dead, so I mean, I might as well commit it somewhere else instead. Skadoosh. Down go the salvagers on the main base. And MarchWaden, he knows how that ends. He's not interested in playing this out at all. Gonna surrender, and I do take game 3 as well. If that was a best of 5, I would have won already. And let's point out as well, I was actually undefeated so far in this tournament. So, you remember A-Game pulled that off in the last tournament? He didn't lose a single map, right? And I thought, this is the tournament that A-Game didn't join in. Imagine how funny it'll be if I do the same thing now, you know? Pretty much solidifying, you know, his position as best in the world and mine as second, right? But, nothing wrong with being second every now and then. Not over yet, though. That's the stakes, though, right? I mean, obviously, I feel very comfortable in this series in general now, but... I mean, it felt to me at this time, there's not really any way that I can lose the series, but, like, I really wanted it. I wanted to go undefeated in this tournament, so... Gonna be gunning for him on this next map, Canyon Outpost. This is his pick, I think. Yes, MarchWaden picked Canyon Outpost. And I think perhaps he did this because it feels like a map that's good for assault ships, early aggro, things like that, but I don't know what his plan is now. Things may have changed. For me, though, Canyon Outpost seems like a map that you can definitely rail rush on. He actually took a little break before this one to calm the nerves, perhaps. I got some water. It was very nice. But again, potentially last map of the series. Tournament point, in a sense, huh? But definitely match point, at least. Sandskimmer Fab looks like started from MarchWaden here. A little bit slower than me. Like I said, I am doing the rail rush. The patented rails opener here. So as for MarchWaden, no base runner retire. He's moving that PC over to the second base for now to drop a salvager, but he does have Sandskimmer Fab out. So clearly he wants to go for some kind of aggression in the early game. I think it's very possible that he might suspect that this is the build that I'm going for, but definitely if he gets a blip on the sensors here, he's going to know about it. But I'm not too worried about him figuring it out. Bring this PC over. I want to fight him off. So he'll know it's a rail rush now. Question is then, what does he go for? I think second PC might be wise, but he's actually queuing a salvager right now. That feels really risky to me. I think you really need to get that that second PC set up faster than your opponent to counter the rail rush. Either that or get rail tech at about the same time. Speaking of which, though, my rail tech is going to be done almost, going to be started almost right now. There it is. It's a little bit of a slow build up to the rail rush, as it usually tends to be. Question is, what is MarchWaden's response? Because like I said, 2PC feels like the sharpest play here, but it looks like he's actually going to go into railguns as well. 6 million? That's like 2 million more than last time you told me. little bit of a dive onto the carrier here. This is maybe not wise. It seems like I'm going to come to the same conclusion and back off. I do have Railgun Feb done now, so I could build a heavy even if I feel really frisky, but it's probably not a good idea because obviously if he shows up with more skims than I'm expecting, he'll probably kill me there. But skims show up on the backline here at my side of the map. And this to me was quite unexpected. Generally, you want all of the skims to be up there in the front line, ready to fight for you. So I didn't think that he would do such a thing. Railgun Tech finishing for MarchWaden now. Now that module is opening up, and I'm not sure if I'll notice this off of his carrier. I'm not sure if I was thinking about it. Looks like he actually did kill off a salvager, but I finished off all of his harassing skims as well for it. So probably not worth it because finishing off the kill on that one salvager facilitates me now, you know, just long distance mining for free off of the other one. Bit of damage starting to plink up onto this carrier, and again, every little hit on that carrier is tantalizingly closer to my goal of going undefeated in the tournament, right? Ref mode started for MarchWaden now. Now that seems like a really odd choice, doesn't it? I mean, I feel like he's got to go for another PC here, but he doesn't seem to think that he really needs it. I had determined, by the way, apparently an assault railgun has about the same range as a carrier. Kind of to my chagrin, he was just able to kind of like shoot it and plink it down there. I can't outrange him. And then another missile actually came out and managed to finish me off there, so I was a little bit unhappy with this. But I do have still a very big skim lead. Thing is, MarchWaden actually now has got an assault railgun out. And I realized, okay, so clearly I need a heavy railgun then to fight this. EMP rounds taking for me then, because if you're going to build heavy railguns early, I feel like you need them to have some kind of an ability to like fight off like the skims that your opponent is inevitably going to build. Now this I thought was also a little bit strange that he goes for like an extraction now off of the base runner here, but I mean there's no way that he'll get this out, right? Perhaps there is even a window here to like push in over through the middle of the map now, but I didn't feel like that was a great idea. So I just go back up to where I was before. Getting the deny on the base runner is pretty nice. Second PC is out as well, so I'm gonna have a lot of sand skimmers here. There's no way he's gonna contest the count unless he takes a really good trade with like the carrier or something. And I've got the heavy railgun too, so assault railguns were built by MarchWaden here. But it feels like I've got a good unit to just sort of ward them off. Oh my gosh, though, look at that missile. Man, just get a really blindingly good hit there on the skims. Only kills one of them though, so yeah, that's what I'm wondering though. I mean, like, he could have done BDs. He could have moved out that side and then like snuck them in. He would have only had to hold on for like about 160 seconds, you know, and he'll be able to do this, right? Second PC, by the way, on the way from MarchWaden. Now, he did go for ref mode, so he's on 2-base fluently now. Missile going to be a near miss on the railgun there. Yeah, exactly, right? I mean, like, even if I didn't see it moving over, which I did, I mean, once he picks the artifact, it dies, right? It just feels like a total waste. It feels like a romp-a-frolic base runner, if he doesn't mind me saying so. But as I said before, you know, damage on this Conf carrier equates to time, basically, right? He's got sort of a hit point pool that he can use to delay and stall, but eventually he's going to run out. Heavy railguns from MarchWaden are out too now, though, you can see. So this is his plan to try and defend. For me, maybe range calibration's on the table then. Need something to try and ensure that I can, you know... Oh my gosh, look at that. Assault railgun with the range, actually, to hit the heavy rail there, but an EMP hit lands on the assault railguns. I'm gonna choose to commit in though. You can see I definitely could have considered the dive there, and actually looking back on it, that probably would have been the game. The assault rails are stunned up enough that the skims can get on top of them. They'll blow up all four of them pretty quickly here. He doesn't have any armor or anything like that. And if that's true, then I can probably just drive in and start killing the second base as well with my skims. So maybe I should have gone in there, but sometimes better safe than sorry. Yeah, A-Game seems to think so. Oh, nice hit. This is the thing about playing against Conf. The Rail Rush feels... Already, Rail Rush always feels like this strategy that's really, really knife edge. You have to be so careful about losing. But when he's just throwing missiles out like that and you're so afraid of like getting hit by them, man, it's just... You have to be on your toes literally constantly. It's never relaxing. Uh-oh, speaking of which... Oh, that's going to be a direct hit. Really, really nicely predicted by MarchWaden there. I'm just going to back away. I need to stop bunching these guys up. If they're both together like this, there's really a threat that they're gonna get hit by these missiles. Seems like I've realized it as well. The brain I'm using today is the same one from a week ago, so it seems like my thought process is about symmetrical. The heavy rails are up for MarchWaden, so I mean it's not clear that I can just kind of win without thinking about it here. This is getting a little bit uncomfortably close. I can see again that carrier is so low, right? But it's not dead yet. My rail is getting a bit low here too now, but I do have range calibration on the way. And that perhaps will change things, but the Conniff carrier can still range me, so obviously that lets me fight against his railguns really effectively, but I have to worry about the carrier missiles in that case. Railgun armor's starting to tech for MarchWaden as well now, so he wants to make them a bit more survivable against those sand skimmers. Ooh, railgun here, maybe forfeit. He does get the kill on that one as well. EMP though gonna land on the assault railguns, and this is the moment I'm gonna choose to go in here. Manage to get the stun on 2, then they instantly explode. Again, Rail Armor 1 was teching, in fact Rail Armor 2 teching now, but all of these guys are gonna die. It's climactic. Uh-oh, Skims are a little bit idle here though. He actually gets a retire off on that assault rail, that's kinda cool. Looks like Salvager's gonna get ripped off the line then, but what I should really do is go back and... Oh my gosh, he's on 3 base. I should really go back and commit to finishing off those bases of his off on the back end here. Punish him for going for that macro, and by the way, he built another base for me, he's insane. Right now, it looks like I'm chasing down the assault railguns here, but armor 2 finished actually, so these guys are really survivable. I can't seem to kill them here. Oh my. It's no skim upgrades for me, so yeah, these assault railguns are just really, really hard to kill. Ooh. Those missiles still making me nervous. Most of the skims get out though, so I can still continue the rush, but note, he is on 3 base now, and Rail Armor 3 gonna come out, means he does actually have a pretty big advantage in heavy rail fights if he wants to take it that way. But also, he's gotten a lot of carrier power here, so he's got some natural regen and the missiles flying out at me. This is not over yet. I mean, it looks like I should have been able to just sort of finish him off here, but like a couple of times now, but things have just not quite gone how I expected that they should. But that carrier's so low, about 3,000 health left on it only. It's tantalizingly low, right? I mean, just a couple more volleys from these railguns and I'm gonna get it down. 2,500 now. Assault rails here trying to come up from the flank now. I'm gonna deploy EMP here though just to try and stall this out. The assault rails just want to capitalize on the heavies here, but I feel like if I can just win the skim fight, I'm probably okay. Down go the assault railguns. How about these heavies though? Are they gonna survive? Because if they don't, it buys enough time for MarchWaden to get a bit more healing off on this carrier. One of them gonna live, but only one. This is tense, man. And power 3 on the way now as well. Still not over yet. Because again, he's on 3 base actually, so he's stacked up a lot of money for all these upgrades here. Eventually he'll have the better skims, he'll have the better rails. Well, he already has the better rails. And his carrier is getting powered up a lot too. I mean, eventually you wonder like what it's going to take to actually kill this thing, because it's going to have a lot of healing coming out. Railgun's still hitting it though off of this high ground, but I have to turn off calibration because it gets around the hill. So what I need to do then, clearly, is finish off the economies for MarchWaden, but his bank apparently is... No, it's not big. I mean, I know what happens, so I'm confused about how it does. Anyway, because it seems like he rebuilds all of his eco here after it starts getting killed, but I suppose, to be fair, I'm really not going in hard enough on this economy. I'm still thinking he doesn't have this base production cruiser on the main base, so I'm figuring that this is like it. Railguns, though, still hitting on this carrier here, and they're doing really big damage, right? This carrier is so close. And I'm kind of leaving the railguns alone now. 1,000 health now on this carrier, but another extract, actually, an extract does manage to get out from MarchWaden off that base runner he made. So it's 3 power into the healing now. Skims, I'm not sure what they were doing there. They should just have come... Oh no, the Skims should have just come back and kept the railguns alive here. Alarm bells ringing. Sandskimmer Armor continue to tech for MarchWaden here because he wants to be able to take those fights. Ram him with the PCs. Dude, that'd be pretty cool. That's a Rail Rusher's dream if they would add that into the game. Couple more heavy railguns coming out though, so it's not like I've run out of rails here, that's for sure. And again, I occupy his main base, there's nothing he can do about that. Skim's just chasing down here. I figure that I can outrun him, so I might as well just chase him down. Although actually he's got rating and I don't, so maybe this is also a mistake. EMP on that PC though, I'm gonna kill this off. So down goes another PC for MarchWaden. It's really only carrier power that he's got left now. Those skims are definitely, as I said, more upgraded than mine, so I mean, maybe there's a world where he can still fight this off. Railgun's on the high ground here hitting this carrier, but they are in range of the point defense now. So this is not exactly the best angle for me to take this fight from. And indeed, carrier block actually on this guy is starting to stop him from shooting. He's on power 3 right now with 1 artifact. But you know, at this point, I mean, like, obviously I don't have the rails left, and he's gonna sit on top of these PCs. He almost has enough speed to, like, catch me. He's going for another artifact with his base runner, but it's not like I'm gonna let that one get out. But I realized at this point, like, I can't seem to finish him off here, but I know I've got a big lead in terms of, like, PCs. I've killed off 2 of them from him, so he can't have many left. Oh, that's too bad, A-Game, because he was watching this on stream. He thought it was pretty hilarious. But in fact, he might even, like, kill off a production cruiser here, which is insane. His base is, like, so vulnerable right now, though. Yeah, it looks like I'm just gonna go for the base trade here. Let him get this PC kill. That's maybe, questionable, but I just want to, like, get the damage done on his side of the map instead. If I can gut his eco, I think that mine will get set up faster, because I have all these, skims ready to go. But I'm not teching, ref mode just yet, so in many ways it does feel very risky, kind of unnecessarily so here. This is probably a scenario where I can continue the rail rush if I want to, but I'm going to choose to go back to eco instead. A lot of salvagers going to go down here, and this PC is just going to absolutely melt as well. MarchWaden, I believe, building another one out of his carrier here. But I should be able to kill that too after it comes out. And this skimmer blob is just so big. I mean, if you look at the numbers here, 23 to 7, right? I mean, I can definitely sit under carrier. This is not a huge problem if I end up losing some skims here. Heavy rails are out too. I really want to keep those guys up in the front line, I think. Assault Chip's taking from MarchWaden then, because he feels like he needs something to do with the skim blob, and he can't just build skims of his own. He's on 1 PC now, so he's not going to be able to match the numbers very easily here. So ref mode on the way for me. I'm going to need to build another PC though, and then I think carrier power is the other thing to tech, because that's kind of the advantage MarchWaden has got right now. A couple more salvagers going to be pulled off the main base here by me. Right now, I mean, it forces the skims to come over, so I can also take some pretty effective trades against them. But the skim blob is getting whittled down slowly but surely. It's down to 13 now, so he does kind of have his 1 base pretty securely maintained here. And I'm on 1 base as well with 1 PC, so in a lot of ways we're surprisingly even in this match right now. But I still definitely have the ability to push on him if I want to. Another PC being built for me, but MarchWaden himself probably going to have to work a lot on getting stabilized here before he can think of such things. So I'm going to get up onto 3 base before him. It's crazy. It starts to look kind of like an early game scenario once again here. Main bases are probably going to be a little close to mine out. Yeah, actually, main bases are gone right now. At least it is for me. I think his is probably pretty close too, but it has been interrupted a couple of times. So I'm going to build that second PC, but I'm just going to bring the carrier straight out to the front line then, and carrier power going to be teched as well. Because my thinking is, obviously, if I get carrier power here, then that's kind of his only serious advantage over me is that he has that carrier power. So if I can get it too, I'm not going to have problems in that regard. One thing you got to take into account though is that the carrier cannot pass through this bit of terrain here, nor this one indeed. So the only way that a carrier can move in is through this window right here. He's gonna see the mine out on the main base now. He wants to go and do something with these skims too, but like if he commits them into trying to kill, you know, a couple of salvagers here, like these are just the RU miners. They're kind of mining the dregs off the main base. It's not a huge deal for me. He does manage to get past though, so now he's up on like the main base. He is gonna focus the sand skimmer as well, so this may actually take me a little bit of time to deal with. And indeed, I'm gonna commit the whole skim blob back. So again, this is something he did on Boneyard against Cookies, right? Like, or No Fun, that is. Sorry. He's good at just like buying time when he needs it. And he'll get quite a bit with these skims here. But now we're gonna get our second base set up now. Third bases are not available anymore, at least for me. His is probably gonna mine out soon, but I don't know exactly when. Got a base runner heading to the extraction as well, so like I want to play around this bridge, but what I should really do as I look back on this is like bring everyone up to this front line so I can bring the carrier up as well, and then have everyone push out together. That bottles him in, he can't get out. Seems like that would be much more effective. Power 2 teching though, that's going to be helpful. Hey, it's Houston. And I am bringing the skims over now. Note though, of course, this carrier cannot drive through that terrain, like I said, so there's no way to get through there. I want to push up here, but he's got assault chips, so I feel like I probably can't do it. I don't know if he's got techs for them. Wow, yeah, he's teching them right now. So he's got armor 2 right now. Not things you expect to hear from Houston. By the way, nearly manages to take a rail out for his troubles there. Obviously, having that armor 3 is really quite a big deal for him. I should be aware that his carrier is like right here. These rails are not safe yet. And it's going to be honor guards taking from MarchWaden now off of 2 base. Seems like it should be sustainable, but I am probably going to get a double extract here, which brings the scoreline into my favor and then starts evening the lead in the carrier power that he's got. I have 3 on the way. But he does have a big lead on the sand skimmer techs for sure. The thing is though, he's teching so wide, right? He wants to get full upgrades on sand skimmers, assault chips, and heavy railguns while his main base is probably about to mine out here. So I feel like he's just got to run out of money if he does this. It doesn't seem like a good play to me. Does he have any more heavy railguns? No. So, I mean, I don't really feel like he can fight my heavies here either. Once I see him here, I'll be able to shoot him as he makes the approach, and I've got that EMP upgrade, so it doesn't seem like he's really going to be able to, doesn't really seem like he's going to be able to get much done here. Yeah, there's the EMP. Well, maybe I should take this back. I mean, after all, those guys do have armor. Uh-oh, Skim's really taking a lot of damage here, actually, now that I look at it. I've got another EMP that I can use to just buy for time here, but there go the 2 extractions. Yeah, and it looks like he's committed a little bit too far as well. Both armies more or less getting wiped here. And he's difficult to finish off, man, but at this point I'm starting to feel very confident. He's taking armor 3 for some reason, I don't really know. I've got as much power as he has in his carrier, except I actually have more from the artifacts. I have still an eco lead, I think, because his main base is about to mine out and he's going to have to flip over onto his second. In fact, as I say that, it happened. He just mined out the CU patch there. And I have the railguns here, which I think makes my tech in this army just generally superior. Not to mention, my carrier's on his face here, so it's going to be difficult for him to do anything about this. But he does have honor guards. That's kind of the difference. That's what he needs to leverage to win this game here. Looks like, you know, you can see I want my army with my carrier here, because I know I'm playing my off faction. I don't really know how survivable this kind of carrier is, and I'm worried about throwing it here, but I just feel like if I leave the bridge there, he's gonna, if I leave the bridge here, he's gonna move in and try and, like, do a backstab on me, so I don't feel confident doing that. I don't know why he hasn't just built heavy railguns, by the way. I mean, that's gotta have been the choice here. My carrier's gonna come up here then, try and make a bit of a play, but MarchWaden's gonna respond as well, so he starts bringing his carrier over also. Of course, those missiles do a huge amount of damage. I managed to kill some salvagers off the main base. Admittedly, it is mined out, but that denies them from going over there onto the third. I don't know what happened to these guys, by the way. They were like trying to drop off at the PC. And 3 artifacts picked up here. I should really be moving them, though. I'm idle with these base runners. Again, if I can just get these artifacts out, I win the game. Oh, this is gonna be hard for me to watch. Because, of course, this is how tantalizingly close I am now to going undefeated in the tournament here. But you see, I'm bringing the carrier forward through Fog of War. There's 2 honor guards and the kind of carrier here. Suddenly I realize what I've done. I power up the mobility system as fast as I can now. These honor guards are going to put out a lot of damage, and obviously, like, the kind of carrier from MarchWaden is about as fast as mine, but it has those missiles for the chase down. Suddenly I'm very nervous, I guess I'll just say. I do manage to kill both the honor guards, though, with these skims, which is really a big deal, but I also can't path through this terrain here. Can I, actually? It didn't look to me like I could. So I have to kind of, like, run off in this direction now. Nobody really cares what's happening on the main base anymore. This is clearly for the win or the loss. But, I mean, we have more or less equal power, like I said. I really just feel like I need to buy time. I just need to run for my life and see if I can get the extractions out. But I was idle with these base printers. I mean, this guy here should be, like, right there at the moment. So, doesn't look like I'm going to be able to make that work either. So I just drive up right next to him, try and neutralize the damage from the carrier missiles here. Oh, it was 100% worth it, because the only way that he can possibly win the game is through this. So if he can do anything to facilitate this, he simply has to do it. There's no other choice for him. Third extraction comes out. Don't know where to put my power because there's not really a winning proposition here. Maybe if I just have it all and healing, the idea is I might be able to survive, but it doesn't seem like it. And he does actually manage to kill the carrier because, of course, it's Bozo and he throws. That's what he do. And in a game that was insanely long for how much rail rushing went on here, that I definitely should have won at the end, I just threw the carrier by walking into the Fog of War there. Feels bad, man. But no, it was 100%. It's undebatable. The honor guards attacking the carrier had to have been the right move. There's no way that the carrier gets out if he gets the damage lead on it. Right? And if you can get that damage lead by hitting with the honor guards, because remember, he didn't have the power lead. He's got to do it. And the damage that they put out is actually pretty significant against the carrier, so... Yeah, it's 100% worth losing those if he wins the game, right? And certainly he must win the game using those. He can't do it without them, so... So I'm gonna be a little bit sad about this. I remember saying something like I shouldn't have let him take that break. just as a joke, obviously I don't really think that. But we move into the next map, which is on the shallows. But if they don't die, they could keep putting more damage. Yeah, but there's no guarantee that they were gonna live anyway. You know, there was no misplay from MarchWaden. I mean, I'll say that 300%. If he plays it any other way, he's risking losing the whole series for this, right? I mean, if he's got a win condition, you know, don't even think about it, just take it, right? Anyway. Obviously, that was the chance to go undefeated in the tournament here, so I was feeling a little bit sad about that, but on the shallows, I figured maybe I'll just go for some eco, because I feel like I'm not very confident rushing him anymore here. Ref mode coming out for me, as I said, but he has skimmer fab coming out. Skim Fab comes out for me at about a similar time. This is not a very concentrated rush for MarchWaden, so, you know, you would think ideally I should really be able to hold this off. It's not like he's going, like, Rail Rush, really going heavy for it. He just has Skimmer Fab, and he's made 2 long-distance miners before he even really starts building them. He does have his base footer, though, so clearly he wants to make some kind of artifact pressure happen in this game. Rift mode done in about 10 seconds for me. You can see I consider moving my PC over, but, I mean, it's not going to be in time, so let's bring the carrier down to that low ground base. Bit of awkward carrier blocking for me then. It's actually going to lose me a not insignificant amount of money. Oh man, especially if it continues here. But it looks like I've caught it finally, so I'm going to finish. Gonna fix that one. It's a very small map though, so I should kind of anticipate he'll probably He'll probably go for some kind of aggro. I want to see, but unfortunately I can't really get any vision because I'm kind of here. There's one advantage that Galzian tends to have in the early game. I need to be building skims much more frequently than this. So this is some bad macro here for me. Not really spending enough. It looks like I actually have a BD started. Maybe that's what I was thinking of instead. A couple skims I'm going to see then. 2 on the flank, 3 on this flank. So yeah, I need to come back with the carrier then, just kind of defend. Question is, can I keep the LDMs alive? But it seems like it's probably okay for me so far. But I do see that extraction coming out. MarchWaden getting rail fed. Looks like that's what he wants to go for. Smoke here just to buy a bit of time so I can get more skims up. When I send the salvagers back over here to the low ground base, that's got to be a mistake because they really need to just come up here and be safe for the time being. And now I know once I come to try to deal with this, he's going to push on that base, so I can't really leave. So these guys just have to stay still for now. He does get that artifact extract out as well, and ref mode started for him. So for me, it's going to be important that I can get this pushed off my base pretty fast here, because otherwise I start maybe falling behind. So there's 4 skims here. I've got 4 of my own. I've got my carrier too. So this is a really smart move that he does then. He realizes he needs to kind of get together if he wants to like make this play work. But I have a blast drone this time, so now I've got some tools to maybe try and make something happen. Might even build another one. That would not be a bad idea. Assault chip fab on the queue for me, by the way. Maybe I mentioned that already. Here comes the first railgun, though. Built another salvager, wow. I mean, I don't know. I feel like probably getting a second PC was the right move here. Because you can see I've taken a lot of time to get back up onto my 2 base now. Ref mode just now finishing for MarchWaden. He'll be on 2 at this point, so I need to be on 2 as well. There's that PC, but like I said, a little bit late here. I do have the tech done, I think. Assault ships? Yes, I do. So I probably will start building one of these as well. It'd be really, a really handy unit for this defense here. But I need a little bit of money, it looks like. Base runner just going out to scout. He does catch the sand skimmers on their approach here. Blast drone, it looks like I want to get behind his army with it. He actually hasn't seen it. It's just been barely out of the vision radius. So this time I'm going to chase the skims down with my skims, right? And when he tries to leave, I'm going to come up with the blast drone. But there's still a vulnerability on the second base here, and the carrier needs to go back and not let that happen. Blast drone's in, though. Gets pretty good damage there. Manages to kill 2 of them. Uh-oh. Main base guys are in danger again, though. Here's the assault chips finally coming out, then. And that second PC going to finish soon as well. But MarchWaden's managed to garner a pretty good lead, then. He has the eco lead, definitely. And there's that second artifact, but he also built another base runner to try and extract a 3rd here. I feel like this is an okay fight for me, because I do have the high ground. I'm on top of him already. So another PC pops for me as well. It's going to be nice. Try and get my economy set up here now. I have assault ships too, so I've got some tech that can be a little bit better used on the defense. But it's 3 artifacts to 0 in just a moment here. Got a little bit of a surround on these assault railguns though, so that feels pretty nice for me. Now I will finish them off with that assault ship there. It looks like this guy may give his life for the cause. Oh no, he's actually going to live. That's really nice. So I'd love to make a counterattack if I can, but I don't really think that that's on the cards here. Really what I think I need is just move up onto 3 base and then try and get Con of Siege as fast as I can, because the reason why I'm thinking that is because obviously MarchWaden's going to have a lot of carrier power set up in a moment here. And once he gets that, he can bring his carrier out. And obviously if you watch the last game, you know how that's going to go, so if I let that happen. I'm clearly not the best at keeping my Con of Carrier alive here. So we could definitely be looking at some sort of an endgame where MarchWaden has, well, really accelerated endgame at about like 10 or 15 minutes where MarchWaden has carrier power set up. Don't want to let that happen, so I need to get the Con of Siege tech about as fast as I can. But see, MarchWaden is filling out his 3rd base as well, so we're both kind of on the same track there. And as a result, those artifacts are just kind of a flat advantage for him. My skim's gonna go up and try and scout, but I only just see his carrier here. I can't, you know, push on that. I do pick up an artifact of my own, but it's questionable if I'll be able to extract here. I need to sort of pull his army over so that he can't deal with me any other way. That's kind of the only way that I'll be able to get this extract out. Third PC on the way now for MarchWaden. For me, I don't really have such plans. I just want to go straight to Con of Siege. Actually, maybe canceling that Salvager would be good so I can get this tech a little bit faster, but I really think I just need this now. Because the faster I can get Con of Siege out, the more likely I'm going to be able to stop that carrier power play. And yeah, sure enough, there it is on the queue. Uh-oh. This doesn't look like a great fight here, especially with the base runner. Very nice smoke there to try and kind of split the attackers, right? So that I can't like go in and dunk him with the skims as well. So very nicely played by him there. I feel like teching defenses for the armored units has got to be a mistake here, so I'm just going to go for some skimmer armor now instead. Rail armor coming out from MarchWaden, obviously very good for him to like stop the skims from doing so much damage. And I do get my first artifact out, but MarchWaden's picked one up as well. And remember, he does have some serious pressure to win the game, and this is why like I always criticize Romper Frolic for doing this, but I wouldn't criticize MarchWaden for making these base runners, right? Because the difference is, field control is contestable. He might win a fight and gain the field control, and he's at 3-5. He's at game point, right? So, like, there's a reason why building base runners can be the best move you can make and the worst move you can make. Do you know what I mean? I guess that's how I would say it. Skim Armor 2 finishing for me now pretty soon. I need to get Fleet Cap up, though, because I need to build... I pretty much need to build Siege Cruisers right when they're ready. And what's missing from MarchWaden, I think, is a couple of heavy rails, but he does have them on the queue now, finally. But, like, he can't really pressure any of my locations here, because... he's got to, I don't know, I mean, he's got to deal with, like, the carrier, right? Uh-oh. Well, I don't know, he's got a lot of rail armor here. This is maybe not a terribly good play for me, actually. I feel like I've got to take it, though, I think, to try and just get some control of this field here, because, like I said, he keeps stacking up assault railguns. Eventually, you know, he might be able to get the field control and get the extracts out, which would be game over for me. But it looks like it's an overcommit here, sacrificing the skimmer blob, something that, you know, seems like a bit of a rookie mistake, to be honest with you. I cannot let this extract, really, because if it does, I think it's probably going to be the game, sooner or later. This artifact here, they're taking a lot of damage, and I can probably kill the cruise missiles if I'm thinking about it. But it looks like for now I'm mostly focusing on hitting nothing. That's a nice miss. Con of Siege is about to come out, though. That's the silver lining to this cloud, and obviously that is going to be a power spike for me. Power 2 teching for him, so I mean, this carrier is pretty beefy. Question is then, what can Con of Siege do for me? If I can gain control of the whole field with this, that's pretty much all I can hope for to win. Con of Siege needs to deal with the heavy rails, so I assume that I can stop this base runner's extract with the skims and with the assault ship here. But this is really getting a little bit sticky. It's going to be a bit of a photo finish here, right? Obviously, it looks like that base runner is not going to make it out at this rate. Oh, I heard an extraction come out, but that was actually mine. Base runner is going to be denied? Yes, just barely though, on the verge of the extraction zone there, and second one has already used the smoke, so he won't be long for this world either. Another Con of Siege about to pop here, but this carrier is quite powered up for MarchWaden. So the question is, what is this, you know, what has this gotten for me? Do I have enough now, or can he still win just with like a carrier power play? This Siege Cruiser has to stay alive. I'm really moving it in the wrong direction right now, I think. Just keeping him out of range of like the Con of carrier here is going to be paramount to winning this game, I think. Oh, and the carrier block is so bad too. Yeah, this doesn't look great. Yeah, once I put power into healing, you kind of know you're just sort of waiting for the end. But I'm thinking that Con of Siege can be my damage output here because it's Con of Siege. But the problem is that this Con of carrier is on top of it, and obviously in Jaraci patch, you know, he does have the close combat weapon, so he can fire back. It's still pretty close though, it's like 6,000 to 3,000. Again, the carrier block is really good for him here. And now he starts hitting me with the missiles as well, which means that his damage output has actually gone up quite a lot. There's really just no running from that Con of carrier. And much to my dismay, it looks as though game, what is this, 5 of this series also going to go MarchWaden's way. Now we start getting a little bit worried. Obviously, we've built up a large bank in wins here, but I mean, he wins 2 in a row like this, you start wondering, you know, I mean, reverse sweeps are possible. I did it to him in the last tournament that we played in, I think. So he's gonna be happy with this, but he's still got it all cut out to do. Very, very nice game there. It seemed like he was ahead the whole time, and I kind of managed to swing things back right at the end, but just not enough. Not enough to stop him from getting the carrier kill there. So, Firebase Krill, with MarchWaden having it all to do. He must win this game and the next. If he wins this, he moves on to the ace match. Now, you must realize, on game 6, MarchWaden... I mean, how do I say? Both of the next maps for the series are kind of already determined, right? Because in a best of 7 like this, we have 9 maps, you ban 2. But because MarchWaden picks this map and then I pick the ace match, he actually essentially picks both of them, because when the ace match comes up, I have only one pick that I have left that I can pick. So, he basically picks this one and the next one. But it's Firebase Krill. This a map, I think, that can favor both of us. MarchWaden's been playing a little bit wily. He's difficult to rush, but he's difficult to go eco against here. In games 1, 2, and 3, it felt like I really had him figured out, but at game 4 kind of shook me, you can tell. Base runner for MarchWaden is moving out across the field pretty early here. He has Skimmerfab started, so looks like this will be pretty similar to last game. He doesn't want to let me go eco. As for me, Skimmerfab as well, and I'm keeping the base runner too, so it looks pretty similar, but he's building LDMs, which I am not. And that will give him a slight eco advantage, but it does mean that any tech that he gets is going to be a little bit delayed. He won't have as many skims usually. Except he does have Skimmerfab, looks like started sooner, so it looks like he will actually have a slight edge on that. This is a big investment into economy for MarchWaden. Other thing that he probably won't have is blast drones too, right? Take note of this. We are building blast drones and sending them off onto the corner here, just trying to be a little bit sneaky. And so for me, this seems like a pretty similar game plan to game 1 on Galzian territories. And if you recall, it actually didn't work for me, but it ended up being okay because he ended up taking a bad trade, which allowed me to sort of get back into that game. So, you know, it should feel a bit nervous, I guess, what I'm trying to say here. This is a game plan that didn't work for me before. Catch that base burn out in the middle. I want to get a bit of damage on it, but it looks like his skims are here to defend. Still, though, this is high ground, so if we take the fight now, I'll win it. He knows it, just to back away. Neither of us want to overcommit here. I mean, we know what can happen if a PC gets caught out in the open. Any Galzian main must you know... Oh my gosh. Any Galzian main has like a cold sweat when they dream about that and wake up in the middle of the night, right? So... Rating coming out very early for MarchWaden again. It looks like he's going to cancel it. He's considering getting tech instead, perhaps? Artifacts are on the field now, but again, MarchWaden had to back up, so he's not going to be able to get anything out just yet. Blast Drone comes out for him as well. But I am hidden in the corner here. This is the big unknown element, kind of the ace in the sleeve that I'm trying to play with. And MarchWaden with the tech faster, actually, it's going to be assault chips for him. What's the play for me? I'm just kind of waiting here, trying to get those blast drones up. And, you know, from his perspective, it seems I'm waiting to try and get a tech, right? That's obviously, like, what you usually go for here. But for me, it's not going to be so, it seems. Although, probably at this point, I will pick a tech that I want to invest in. No, it's actually going to be another PC. Second blast drone, close to finishing here now. MarchWaden's blast drone, you'll note, is with the army there. But I feel like this is maybe actually not the strongest way to use blast drones. It's always how I used to try it back in the day, but I mean, it's pretty easy to isolate them and kill them off. Refinery mode queued for MarchWaden as well now. So he's got the lead in economy and the lead in tech here. It means I'm really gambling on this blast drone hit. It's got to do a lot of damage, but it seems like it will. Well, I certainly have, but see, BDs are sort of the tech. That's like the curious thing about this. It's a build that most factions cannot really do, and MarchWaden hasn't noticed, by the way, or at least it doesn't look like it, because he's not sending anyone back to try to deal with that, and he's taking a bad fight here. Blast drone's just kind of walking around. They're trying to figure out what they want, but again, like, what's MarchWaden going to do about this? I mean, he can't hit me anywhere, so I can just wait for like the longest time, and now he's going to start splitting his guys up here. But again, I don't even need to hit him. I basically deny mining forever if those blast drones are alive. And the skims here, meanwhile, have won the fight on the other side, so I'm going to start taking the rail fad then. I want to make this a rail rush. Looks like he's finally come up here to deny the blast drone, so I'm just going to go in for the hit. That's 2 salvagers dead. And a lot of mining time denied. Oh, I could have stuck around and gotten another one there, but... Here's that second PC, though. Railgun tech going to be out before too long. Sandstormer armor coming out for me, because I want to keep these guys survivable. And it will probably be straight into heavy railguns then, because this feels like a game where I have the very uncontestable skimmer majority here. And assault chips for MarchWaden actually all of a sudden going to feel pretty bad. So things have turned really quickly for him. I want to get in behind his carrier here as well, because I feel like there's still vulnerabilities on this base. A couple skims going to go down here, in fact all of them. You know, I normally recommend you don't try such things, but this is maybe a case where I should really just go for his PC here. Although knowing how the rest of this game goes, I'm really confused how we get from this state to where it turned out in the end. Because this to me looks pretty hopeless, right? Base runner is extracting for me as well, so I'm going to have kind of like infinite extract pressure. In fact, might be nice to build another base runner here as well. Just say like, hey, yeah, I'm going to try and like really flush you out with extractions. If you don't deal with this really fast, you know, eventually your loss is more or less guaranteed. Fleet Cap 85 coming out when I don't need it tells me I'm probably planning either ref mode or Sandstormer raiding here. Ref mode seems like a mistake though, because this should be a pretty easy finish, but maybe the problem is that in my mind I'm thinking about that game 4, and I'm just thinking about how badly that went when I had a rail rush that I should have won, you know, but I just couldn't finish it off. Maybe I'm kind of getting a little bit afraid here. Because he's really got nothing. I mean, you have to realize this is not a good situation for MarchWaden at all. Yeah, base runner is indeed being produced by me now. But I probably should have just killed that PC, right? That's kind of where you'd think this was headed. A couple skims gonna go over here and try and deny the artifact, if he can. It does give me a totally free opening here to fight this carrier though, so I'm gonna start getting that damage done, which is what I want to do, as you know. Power 2 already teched from him, so he's really gonna commit to trying to stop it. Oh gosh, this blast drone being AFK here is really bad. Because that's a window where I could definitely have killed off those skims and kept my extract alive here. Skim's gonna try to sneak up in the backline. I'm basically telling him, like, look, you can't... Oh my gosh. You can't do this with your carrier because I'm gonna get my skims behind you, but he gets a really beefy hit there. Oh no. Con F, man. Gotta love him. So it's more skims produced by me then. I know that I need it. How about the base runner? How's he doing? Oh golly. He may be able to hold the extraction pressure down for a long time then. But most of these skims are dead now. There's only 5 left. Yikes. Yeah, I took some bad hits to the missiles there. Speaking of which, really direct hit on that railgun. You gotta dodge the Con F missiles, I guess I'll say. I see that one coming, so I managed to dodge this. He's still just trying to ram the carrier in here. He's gonna take a lot of damage, because again, I've got 3 rails up now, not even 2. Another missile coming out though, do I see this? Uh-oh. Ah, too late, I'm gonna lose a rail for this. This is really hard against Con F, you know, I mean, they've just got this ability to siege you down like that. And again, the more of those I lose, the more important it becomes, because these assault ships are ready, they want to fight. And another one goes down, and all of a sudden that's actually a bit catastrophic, because now the assault ships have a window to kind of come in here. Any other faction defending this, they really wouldn't have had any option to like fight these railguns, but instead he kills all of them here. So I'm thinking like, well, gosh darn it, I mean like all the rails are dead. I mean, I could try and continue the rail rush here, but I feel a little bit unconfident about it, to be honest with you. I have a lot of extraction pressure. I feel like I should maybe just bank around that. So I think this is about when I start taking to ref mode, I believe is what I do, if I remember correctly. But see, MarchWaden with the second PC coming out, he's definitely going to have the advantage when it comes to going economy. I need to continue to pressure here, but I don't know, I'm just not finding that window. Again, I probably should have just been able to kill his PC there, and then that would really solidify the win. There's not much that he can do at that point. At that point, I can do whatever I want, right? Yeah, refinery mode does come out for me off my production cruisers here. And his carrier seems to want to move out across the middle of the field. That to me seems a little bit unlikely. Then again, it does kind of depend on these cruise missiles and how much damage that they can get done. But I should continue harping on him here with my skimmers and PCs and railguns and just move the PCs back to the bases. Because if I let him get away with this, I'm really going to regret it probably, right? Like I said, he has the eco advantage. I need to do something to force him to build more armies so that he doesn't get ahead in money. Artifact comes out for me now. But he does have an assault ship here, so it's probably not going to be easy to extract this next one. Looks like I want to move the rails over there to get that one out. This looks like it's going to be a hit. Yeah, pretty much directly again. Once again, that's got to make you nervous, right? I mean, another one of those and he's going to be killing railguns. Oh, yeah, he gets another one. I mean, the amount of value that that missile system has given him already is huge. He's gotten so many kills off of it. That being said, though, I've got more BDs being produced, so I mean, there is potentially windows to go back on the eco once again. This isn't over yet, but that missile there looks good, and it doesn't quite land. But the BD here, actually, the smoke from the base runner turns out to be really good for me, in fact. Lets that blast drone just get right in there. Need to be careful with these skims, though. They don't want to go too far in. It looks like they're going to set their sights on the main base, but there's still more assault ships up here that I didn't realize that were there. MarchWaden actually picking up an artifact of zone now. That one seems like a bit out of touch, because, I mean, does he really have field control here? He's kind of making like a drastic play with his carrier, and to be honest, like, a lot of this feels like kind of free value being sort of given up in a sense. He could just go on to 2 base if he wants to. This blast drone doing weird things. It's kind of strange. Just none of these one for me, maybe? Well, possibly, but I mean, it seems to me he should really just be considering going up onto 3 base here and just kind of winning from that. Because this seems like a really drastic move, like one that could really fail for him. Skims here, not going to get out, of course. They are more or less contained. But again, I still have a lot of heavy railguns hitting him, and now I've got my carrier here, so if he's got the missiles, so do I. And I, in fact, have more power than him, even though he's got power 2 teched. Because I have those 2 artifacts out. And yeah, sure enough, big damage starting to be put down onto this carrier here. We can move into a late game scenario if we need to. I can just go up onto 3 base here, but I feel like perhaps if I can just get like a triple extract out, maybe is what I'm thinking, I might have a better win condition there. The problem is that these assault ships here are indeed behind me. And that's going to be difficult to deal with. All of my railguns are up in sort of this position instead. So I see it now. What am I going to do about it? This is a little dumb because obviously these are going to get their hit, but there's no one to capitalize on the damage. Oh dear, I don't know what I'm doing. Oh my, am I just going to try to base trade here? This is a little risky. Because obviously this is kind of a similar problem to him. Like, I could have dealt with these guys if I wanted to, but instead I'm going to go for this sort of really risky play here. Now, I mean, I guess I can see what I'm thinking. There's 3 artifacts up. I need 3 to win. Oh dear. Yeah, these assault ships though, I'm not going to be able to contest them with skims because I don't even have rating. Yeah, so, and he's got armor 3, I think, so he pretty much will get the whole eco for this. Power 2 teching for me though. I do a little quick drop on these guys to get the last RUs, and then I spend all of my money on this last base runner. Yeah, this is insane. I can't believe that I chose to play it this way. Because basically I'm banking like I'm going to win the game right now or it's literally all over. I have one of these artifacts picked up. This guy can pick up this one, and then that last artifact is spawning soon. And what you said, Cookie, starts looking a little sharp now. It's true, right? He needs to keep, you know, like deny this one for me. But if these skims find the base burner, we're gonna lose here. Missiles actually managed to get hit there, so caught one of those skims. MarchWaden with Con of Siege teching now, but that's actually one of the few times that Con of Siege is not a good answer here, because it's going to take him too long to get it, right? And my play here is very much to say, like, look, I've already lost the game, unless maybe I can win off the artifacts here, right? So Con of Siege actually does not work here, I don't think. I think he really needs to be going for, He really needs to be going for, like, just a lot of assault chips and skins to try and, like, deny the artifacts here, and then he can go for carrier power. And he should be okay. I can't really do anything, though, until this artifact is out, so MarchWaden has a really uncomfortably long amount of time that he can sort of, like, set up here for the attack. Okay, this base spinner here making me nervous. The artifact is almost up now. Power's in the mobility support because I want to get these guys out fast as I can. Okay, you really need to pick this up though, Bozo. Alright, there we go. Ooh. I should actually get this guy back to mining because then I sort of like tie up the assault chips for a little bit, but... Oh my gosh. I must be really shaking. I remember I was kind of hyped here. Okay, I've got the artifact picked up now, and Akana Siege is being built right now by MarchWaden. He's got the range upgrade on the queue as well. So the stage is set pretty clearly here, right? I must get all 3 of these out, and if I don't, that's just gotta be the game. But I have smoke on all of them, so I'm thinking this is possible. Mobility support here is definitely helping me out too to move the carrier out. I'm gonna use the PC for vision. See if I can get eyes on, you know, what's out there. Railguns pick off an assault chip, that's nice for me. Gonna switch power into the weapons here. This guy's starting to take a lot of damage, but MarchWaden's actually not focus firing it. I think maybe his play is to just kill the railguns and he can go in on the next guys, but he doesn't have any assault chips that can do it. This guy barely even had to smoke at all. Smoke used from both of these base spinners now. But the carrier is here for MarchWaden. This fires 1 missile in here. Sandskinner's hitting the base runner, but it's gonna get out. And that is going to be the series, and oh my gosh. I remember when that thing finally extracted, I think I shouted like yes or something, and like threw my headphones like over my monitor. I was like, yes! Because I was, man, I really didn't know if I was going to win here. This was about as close as it can get. A photo finish, I'd say, in games 4, 5, and 6 there, but I am going to take it though, so I will be the Jaraci Cup 9 champion. And MarchWaden, he does get finalists there, but he played well. He's gonna be a little sad, you know, the series started out really in a poor way for him, because definitely by the end, he was starting to figure it out there. This game was by no means certain, and if we moved on to the ace match, who knows what would have happened, so that really could have gone either way. Really well played to MarchWaden. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Someday this will be on YouTube, and thanks for watching. Oh, and Merry Christmas, I guess.